Okay, students, this is chapter number 3, enzymes. In today's lesson, we will go through the types of reaction in which enzymes are involved. We call these reactions as enzyme catalyzed reactions. These include anabolic and catabolic reactions. Both anabolic and catabolic reactions together are called metabolic reactions that are happening inside all the living beings. The example of anabolic reaction is photosynthesis, and the example of catabolic reaction is respiration. Then we will look upon the hydrolytic and condensation reactions. Then we will go through lock and key hypothesis. First, let's understand what is anabolic and catabolic reaction. As I told you previously that both of them together are called metabolic reactions. Anabolic reactions are also called as building up reactions. What happens in this kind of reaction? If you see that we have two substrate here, both of them are getting fixed into the respective active sites on the enzyme to make enzyme substrate complex. These two substrate combine to form a bigger product. So what we got to know that in anabolic reaction, simpler compounds or small compounds are made fixed into the active site of the enzyme, and after the reaction a bigger molecule is formed, which is known as product. On the other hand, in catabolic reaction, if you see, a bigger molecule is getting fixed into the active site of the enzyme and is breaking up into two components which are smaller in structure. So we call catabolic reaction as breaking up also, because a bigger molecule is being broken down into two simpler compounds. So you see that one here in the anabolic reaction, things are being made from smaller components, while in catabolic reaction, smaller components are being made by breaking up of a bigger one. So both of them are opposite to each other, and both of them together are called metabolic reactions, and these are happening both in plants and animals. Let's see the example of anabolic and catabolic reaction. The process of respiration is the example of catabolic reaction, because the bigger molecule, comparatively bigger molecule glucose, is being broken down in the presence of oxygen into smaller components along with the release of energy, which is in the form of ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So if you see in respiration, glucose molecule is being broken down in order to release energy in the form of ATP, while the two other components which are being formed are carbon dioxide and water. On the other hand, if you see photosynthesis, here smaller components are used to form a bigger molecule of sugar. Here if you see in the equation, carbon dioxide and water are the reactants, while the product is relatively a bigger molecule called glucose, whose formula is C6H12NO6. Along with sugars, we get to have water and oxygen as well. Photosynthesis hence is an example of anabolic reaction where things are being made. On the other hand, respiration involves the breakdown of glucose molecule. So both of these reactions are going side by side in plants during the daytime. If you know that photosynthesis is light dependent reaction, so in plants photosynthesis is happening only when the light is present, when the daytime is there. On the other hand, respiration is happening all the time because plant needs ATP energy all the time. Both of these reactions are going side by side in plants during the daytime. At night only respiration happens in plants. What about us? What about humans or mammals or animals? Obviously we are not doing photosynthesis since we are not able to make our own food. So only respiration happens in humans or in animals. This is a simpler diagram to help you understand the respiration and photosynthesis process. If you see that Glucose and oxygen are being used as a reactant in respiration, while these are the product in the reaction of photosynthesis. The product of respiration is actually the reactant in photosynthesis. It is just to make you understand that these two reactions, when go side by side in plants, the product of one reaction is used as a reactant in the other reaction. Now, type of reaction which are catalyzed by enzyme also include hydrolytic reactions and condensation reaction. First, let's discuss the definition of them. Hydrolytic reactions are reactions in which bigger molecules break down in presence of water to give smaller molecules as product. The example of hydrolytic reaction is digestion. Digestion is the process by which larger, insoluble, non-diffusible food molecules are broken down into small, soluble, diffusible molecules. Let me make you understand this again. Hydro means water and lytic means breakdown. So these are the reaction where bigger molecules are being broken down in the presence of water molecules. The example of which is digestion, which is happening in our body, where we take in large, insoluble, non-diffusible complex food molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, fats. All these compounds are large, insoluble in water, and are non-diffusible. Non-diffusible means that they cannot cross the cell membrane. They cannot diffuse through the cell membrane. So what happens in digestion is that these large, insoluble, non-diffusible molecules are broken down with the help of enzymes into smaller, soluble and diffusible molecules. Who does that? I told you that the enzymes are involved. We are reading about the reactions which involve enzymes. So this digestion process which is happening in our body is done by enzymes which include some hydrolases. Hydrolases are the hydrolytic enzymes which include carbohydralases, which include amylase and cellulase. Amylase, like in our previous lecture, I told you it acts on starch and convert it into maltose. On the other hand, cellulase enzyme act on cellulose and convert it into glucose. Cellulase enzyme is absent in human digestive tract, hence we are unable to digest cellulose. Then we have proteases. Proteases are the enzymes which act on protein, but the general term is proteases. Then there are other types of proteases which are discussed in later chapter of animal nutrition. This is pepsin, rennin, eripsin and trypsin. All these four enzymes are protease enzyme. They act on protein and would convert them either into polypeptides or into amino acids. Then we have lipases. Lipases include stepsin in plant and they are also in pancreatic juice as well. And then we will read what they convert the fats and lipids into. We know it from our previous lesson that lipases act on lipids and convert them into glycerol and fatty acids. Now we have condensation reactions. Condensation reactions are the reaction in which large molecules are formed from smaller molecules with the release of water molecules. So if you read the definition, condensation reactions are actually the reverse of hydrolytic reaction. Here the bigger molecules were broken down into smaller ones in the presence of water, while here in condensation reaction, larger molecules are being formed from smaller molecules with the release of water molecule. Condensation reaction include formation of proteins from amino acid, lipids from fatty acid and glycerol, and carbohydrate from glucose molecules. These reactions, all of these reactions are anabolic reactions, while digestion is a catabolic reaction. Now here in the diagram I wanted to tell you that sometimes one enzyme is not enough to give us the end product. For example, if I have a substrate, let's say starch, enzyme 1 would be amylase, substrate starch would be converted by amylase into maltose. Then that maltose would be converted by maltase into our final product, which is glucose. You can see here in the diagram, our first substrate was starch. Starch should be converted to maltose. Who would do that? Amylase. Maltose is not the final product of starch digestion. In fact, it will be converted to glucose by maltase enzyme to give us the final product, which is glucose. So sometimes intermediate products are formed which are not the final product of the substrate. Like here the substrate was starch and the final product of starch was glucose. Maltose is the intermediate product which is formed by the action of amylase. Maltose will eventually be converted to glucose by the enzyme called maltase. Let's see lock and key hypothesis now. It's very simple. Lock and key hypothesis suggests that enzyme is acting as a lock which will be unlocked by a specific key, which is actually the substrate. The position where the key or the substrate would attach to the lock is called active site. This is the theory of lock and key hypothesis, which states that the shape of active site of a specific enzyme is complementary to the shape of specific substrate. I'm going back to this slide. If you see that the shape of active site of the enzyme of a specific enzyme is complementary in shape to the shape of a specific substrate. Complementary means to be complementing in shape means similar in shape, so that the specific substrate can fix into the active site of the enzyme. Once a specific substrate fits into the active site of a specific enzyme, ES complex is formed. Enzyme substrate complex is formed. When the reaction is complete, whether the reaction would be anabolic or catabolic, products would be released while enzyme would remain unchanged during the reaction and can be used again and again. Here a specific substrate acts as a key to unlock a specific lock, which is the enzyme. This is the diagram from your last worksheet if you remember. O was enzyme, N was active site, while M is the substrate. Now if you see, the shape of the active site is complementary to the shape of the substrate. Substrate would fix itself into a specific enzyme's active site and would form enzyme substrate complex. This is enzyme substrate complex. Reaction is taking place. If you can guess what kind of reaction is this, I hope you can. Here a bigger substrate molecule is being broken down into two smaller components, so it's a catabolic reaction. The products indicated by the letter P would be released after the reaction, while the enzyme would remain chemically unchanged.